Hello everyone, welcome to Death Mountain. We have just completed getting all of the shadow insects in Kakariko Village. We have 3 remaining, and they're actually found on Death Mountain. So here we are going to get the 3 remaining shadow insects. As soon as you enter the area, then you'll get a short cinema that gives you an overview, and Minda will say that it's impassable. And I assume she means just because you can't climb the wall and everything as a wolf, but you can in your human form later on. So you can use her to get Minda jumps, whatever, to get up here, so it's not really impassable. So you want to run off to the left side and then use your Minda jumps to get up here. You'll see there's a spirit here, so use your senses and listen to it, and it's actually a Goron, and he will be muttering to himself about why the elders are restricting humans from getting up on Death Mountain. So this is probably the first Goron that you've seen. We'll actually learn more about that in a little bit. But the Gorons are a race that I've been seen in many of the other Zelda titles, along with Death Mountain itself. But the Gorons are like a race of people made from rocks, and they actually eat rocks as well. That's what they eat for food. We'll learn more about them later. You want to head forward. There's actually another shadow insect straight ahead. If you're not quick enough, it'll actually burrow underground. You have to actually dig to get it out. There I was quick enough, and I randomly targeted it. There's lots of geysers in this area, and if you touch them while they're blowing, they'll actually like knock you away, stuff like that. They don't actually hurt you and everything, but you know, I would still just avoid them. Kind of annoying. Up ahead, you'll see there's like a little statue thing, a little stone thing. You can listen to it, and it'll play a song back to you, and it's up, middle, down, and so you have to play the song back to it. You want to hold the A button, and then use those directions on your analog stick in order to play the song, or howl it. This will then take you to a little misty world at nighttime, and you'll see the Golden Wolf is actually on this other platform. We actually saw him earlier, the Hero Shade, and so now he's back in wolf form, and we want to actually howl the song back to him, and then both wolves will then howl the song together. And for those of you who have played Majora's Mask, this is actually the Song of Healing from that game. It's the theme for the Clock Tower as well as the Happy Mask Salesman. This is his song that he plays on his organ and everything. So pretty cool little song. If you like it and everything, you can always, search on Google or whatnot and then download the song. There's a lot of websites that will offer this song that is from the Majora's Mask soundtrack. So it's just another connection to that game. So you will find all these statues here. They're called Howling Stones, and you can howl these songs to the Golden Wolf. And then he will then appear on your map somewhere, and you have to go find him later on in your human, or rather Hylian form, and you'll be able to learn new hidden skills. Just like we learned the ending blow previously, this one will allow us to learn another new skill. So this particular Golden Wolf will appear in, location will appear in the Ordon Spring, so we'll have to go back there later. Now, if you miss this Howling Stone, you can always come back here later, and we'll be able to howl to that stone at a later point in time. Later on, you'll be able to transform into a wolf whenever you like. Continue working your way up Death Mountain. You want to avoid the geysers, of course, and once you get down here, you'll get into the heart of Death Mountain itself. And actually, this little area we took to get up into this area of Death Mountain should actually probably be called Death Mountain Trail, technically, because the layout of it is very similar to Ocarina of Time, which had Death Mountain Trail as well as the top of Death Mountain. So it's laid out very similarly to Ocarina of Time. Because this game has so many connections to Ocarina of Time, it just makes sense that they would call it that. Death Mountain is actually, it's not really that hard. I mean, in the first couple Zelda titles, it was actually really hard, thus it had earned the name Death Mountain, but since then they've actually made Death Mountain not really all that difficult, and it's usually kind of tackled near the beginning of the game if that Zelda title has Death Mountain in it. In this game, it's actually you do your second dungeon is here on Death Mountain, which we are about to go approach. But I guess that's also, you can make the argument that that's because it is similar to Ocarina of Time. Anyways, so I don't really think that Death Mountain is all that hard. It doesn't really earn the name in these later titles. We have these shadow beasts, these 4 shadow beasts to kill, and you actually have to kill the one that is off in that little cubby all by itself. This Twilight barrier that is blocking away from you, so you have to actually go behind it and get behind and kill that shadow beast before you can tackle the rest. Once you've defeated them all, you want to get the shadow insect that is up against the wall. You have to use your senses to see it, and then just kill it when it's not charged up with electricity or whatnot. Then gather its Tear of Light. I was actually a little bit hurt there just a moment ago, but I got the health from getting the Tear of Light. So once you've gathered that, you want to use the midden jumps to get on top of the next platform by standing on the little raised platforms off on the left side. You actually have to wait until the geyser stops blowing, otherwise it's going to knock you off and you'll have to try again. Once up here, you'll see there's another Goron. You can use your senses to listen to him, and he's complaining that he has to stand guard here because it's kind of pointless. Wait for the geyser to stop blowing, and then you can run past this area. There's some black speckly spots that you can use to get some recovery hearts or some rubies up here. Now there's some Twilight cargo rocks up here, as well as some boulders that are now falling from the top of Death Mountain, so kind of dangerous. If you stay in one place too long, then the boulders will fall down and land on you, like that. There's also a geyser up here. You have to wait until it stops blowing in order to use a midden jump to get on top of the next platform. Once you successfully get up here, you want to head forward. There's actually another Goron right up ahead, and he's complaining about this geyser right in front of him, and he says it makes this area impassable. Because this one won't stop blowing, it just keeps blowing, and you can't get past here because it'll just blow you into the hot spring down here. And the Gorons love the hot springs, they'll just soak in here. And we'll learn more about that later when we return here to Death Mountain in just a moment. In this hot spring there is another one of those Twilight cargo rocks, as well as several Shadow Vermin. The Shadow Vermin, once again, are just kind of like the Twilight versions of rats. Once you have defeated them all, you want to use your senses. You'll see that there is the final dark insect, so kill it and collect its light, and this will be the final one. So once it fills up your vessel of light, you will then be transported back to the Eldin Spring in Kakariko Village. So with that, you will then see the vessel of light. It gets tossed back into the Eldin Spring, and this causes the Twilight to no longer cover the Eldin province. So everything light has been returned to this area. You'll see Link, he's opening up his eyes slowly as if waking up from a dream. And Minda will say that she was just starting to have fun. She's of course bummed that Twilight is no longer in this area. So she once again encourages you to go after the Fused Shadow, so she's just telling you to go to the next temple, basically. So with that, then you'll see that once again the spring will start glowing and everything, and you know, depending on how bright you have your brightness and contrast set on your TV, this could be quite hard to see what's going on. The Spirit of Light Eldin will then appear. He looks kind of like a giant hawk or an owl or falcon or something, but he's got, I think his face looks really stupid. I don't know, maybe it's just me. In any case, he will say, when he introduces himself, that he's Eldin, he guards this province and everything, and then he'll then say that the dark power that you're looking for is in the sacred grounds of the Gorons or whatever. So he's talking about the Goron mines, which is sort of the next dungeon. So he encourages you to go up there, and he says that you are the one who's going to have to go up there and cleanse it. So after this, then he'll have this little cinema in which he like encloses his wings or whatever and finally disappears. Now this next scene it's rather lengthy. Link is walking back towards the village, and you know, I guess maybe he just forgot or something. He looks over and he realizes the kids are all there, and they start coming off, and Colin just gets totally knocked over by Tallow, and Mallow just kind of walks by and looks at him. Tallow will then try and make himself look good, I guess, and he's like, "See, Beth, I told you Link would save us." Meanwhile, he was kind of the one totally disbelieving. I think it's funny, Mallow like looks off to the side like, "Yeah, right." Link will then look over at Colin to include him in the little gathering, and then Ronaldo will come over and introduce himself. We actually saw him in wolf form and everything, but, you know, this is the first time we've actually talked to him in person, or even knows Link exists and everything. Ronaldo will then go on to introduce somebody, and so I think it's funny, Barnes like perks up or whatever, and then it turns out that he's introducing Luda. So then Barnes gets all like, fed up or whatever. I think it's funny. Colin will then mention how the beast took them all the way over here, and they managed to get saved by Renato or whatever, and he says that he was shocked that they came from such a far off place and everything, but they don't remember much, and it was just been like a nightmare or whatever. So all the kids apparently feel the same about this situation and everything. Now you'll notice that Ilya is not actually with them, and if you remember from earlier when we got the youth scent or whatever, Ilya's scent was not among them. Whenever we got a little cutscene or whatever that showed pictures of all the kids, but Ilya was not among them, so we still have yet to find her as well. Renato will go on to say that you know, darkness is blanketing the land or whatever, and there's been a sudden change with the Gorons as well, and they no longer let the humans go up there and go mine from their mines. There must be a cause to this, so they ask you to go help the Gorons as well. So he also encourages Link to go bring the children back to the village of Ordon, but there's nothing we can really do about that at the moment. So basically they're just telling us to go to the next dungeon, which was kind of expected anyways, so they ask you to go research it. So join me for the next video, we will go up Death Mountain.